It's such a cliche in racing among the older generation to say they've been there and done it and won it and seen it and bought the T-shirt, watched the video and talked about it. But my next guest really has done all that. He was voted in 1999 by Autosport's sister publication Motoring News the 17th most influential man in British motor racing history. The list of stuff he's done and won is absolutely incredible, and we will try and encapsulate a flavour of that in 15 minutes. Please welcome the legendary Mr. Barry Lee.
Hello, thank you. That was a nice introduction. I like that. Can I take a copy of it?
That's just exactly what I mean. That was a little bit of the Barry Lee magic then, wasn't it?
I suppose so, which is actually missing with all the health and safety things. You win a race nowadays and you're not allowed to take your crash helmet off, you're not allowed to wave at the crowd, and it's health and safety gone mad as far as I'm concerned, because we can't make people a celebrity like Barry Wizzo Williams. He's past it now, but basically you used to be able to play to the crowd. We're not allowed to do that anymore.
I told them you'd been racing or involved in racing for 300 or 400 years.
Yes.
He's 500 or 600 years.
He's actually my father.
You should be up here, Wizzo, really, actually. Poor scheduling. 4 times World Hot Rod Champion, Rallycross Champion, 3 times Autocross Champion, Truck Racing Champion, twice Eurocar Champion, Pre-65 Touring Car Champion, twice, but you started in horses.
Yeah, it all goes back to
when
I wasn't old enough to be on the road, so I went and rode horses. And basically I was taught by a colonel-in-chief of the Household Cavalry, which was very, very nice, a guy by the name of Bob Garrett. This is all in my book, by the way, which is coming out at the end of this month. And he taught me how to ride, and one of the things that he also taught me was balance. And it's very important. We used to have to go down a jumping lane with no saddle and no bridle on and hold one hair of the horse's mane. And if you broke that at the end of the jumping lane, okay, that means to say you would have checked on the reins if you'd have had reins in your hands and pulled the horse about. And so it was basically you learnt how to steer and how to stay with your backside. Then when I moved into Speedway, which I had a very short career in Speedway because I had a fatal accident, but the time that I was in Speedway, it taught you the art of throttle control. So if you didn't have enough throttle on when you left the gate, when the tapes went up, you would be sitting on your bum. And if you had too much on, you'll just be staying in the gate and everybody else will go past you. So that basically taught me the horse riding taught me the balance, and the Speedway taught me how to look for grip, where is the grip, how much throttle to put on, and how much to transfer the chassis of the car. A lot of racing drivers come up to me now, and I've built many cars for people, and they say to me, oh, we want more power, we want more power. But they don't think of the most important thing, and that's the seat that they're sitting in. They sit there and they see F1 drivers and rally drivers and people like that, and they sit there strapped in their seat with their arms stretched out, and I say, now go and put the wipers on because it's raining. Oh, I can't reach them. That's just one silly thing that people don't think of. But you must have a tight seat. When I was doing the Paris-Dakar, everyone said you're mad because I had no padding in the bottom of the seat at all. I had just a little tiny bit of what we call spot foam, and that was about 1/4 of an inch thick, but it's the same density as your skin. And so basically, that's all you need, as Wizzo said. It hurt the old tuckers a bit, but it was good to feel what the car was doing on the sand. So it's very, very important to be comfortable in your car. We talk about bums on people. This Kardashian family, we all talk about she's got a lovely bum on her. I was with Annika Rice, and I won driving force with Annika Rice many, many years ago. Now, that was a lovely bum in those days. Remember when she was in her tight suit and used to jump out of the helicopter? So to me, it's all not new anymore. It's been done before.
Meanwhile, back in the family show.
Yes, sorry, yes.
That is Autosport International.
Exactly.
No, just being serious for a minute.
I am serious. She's got a lovely bum.
Yeah, okay. All these young driver schemes, you know, you had none of that, and you were kind of the original go it alone, Mr. Showman, self-promoting, self-belief. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on how these young drivers are sort of taught how to behave and expected to deliver.
Yeah, it's very hard for young drivers today. It's, you know, looking at the oval racing, which I was brought up on, it's hard to be able to create the Barry Lee, the George Polly and the Duffy Collards that used to put this some sort of magical show on. Nowadays, as I've said before, with the health and safety in the RAC form of racing, you can't do these things. Now, you've not only got to be good as a youngster inside the car, you've also got to have a brain on you. And you've also got to be able to talk to people like yourselves, because that's what sponsors want. Because with 30 youngsters and they go into a race, there's only one winner. But if you're good on a microphone and everything else, and the winner says yes, no, and what tyres have you got on, son? Oh, they're round and black. If they talk to another driver that perhaps come last in the race meeting, but he's very good at talking on the mic, the television cameras will always go to him. So you've not only nowadays got to be a good driver, you've also got to be good outside the car, because that's where the sponsors need you to be good at. And basically, there's not a lot of people teaching people how to be able to perform outside the car. They're filling their heads with going to places like iZone and all these simulators and everything. You know, I've watched Freddie, my boy, in the simulators, and they're going along there, yeah, and he's putting a fantastic time up, and they say, oh, isn't he great? And I said, but what about if someone's just sliding up the inside of him? You're not teaching him to look in a mirror to see if there's someone there. You're not teaching him to look in the left-hand mirror to see if there's someone coming around the outside. There's lots of things, these new involvements in motorsport, that I don't think is good for the youngsters.
You just told me backstage you taught over 1 million school kids. You probably, actually knowing you probably tried to do it all in one go, didn't you?
No. I'd been very popular in motorsport and won a lot of, I was fortunate enough to win a lot of things. And I thought to myself, what can I put back into motorsport? Because it's been very good for me. So I went along to Ford and to Total Oil that was sponsoring me at the time, and I said I'd like to do a road safety show. And so we called that Driving Total Safety with Barry Lee. And I went on a 10-year tour of England 3 times, and we lectured to 1 million 4th, 5th and 6th form students. And also I'd went to the old school, not the old schools, the old people's homes, where people were perhaps, it's the word not infirm, but they hadn't always got their marbles up there, and taught them how dangerous a car could be when they're crossing the road. So I tried to put something back in motorsport. It's nice for me because I look at Top Gear and I look at many of these other shows now, and there's a lot of the stopping distance they do, knocking the dummies over, let's all be careful out there. I used to end my show with, and they're all copying lots of things that I've done on the road safety campaign. It was a big part of my life and a part of my life that I enjoyed. What I don't enjoy about it is when people come up to me and say, oh, this is my son. I used to come and watch you when I was 16 years of age. You came to my school, or when I was 14. And because I try not to think that I'm as old as I am, but it does hit up. But it's great that they used to be able to think, they've remembered something that I taught them. Because the art of talking to kids is, don't tell them, for instance, don't paint your crash helmet, because they go straight home and paint their crash helmet because, you know, they've been told don't do it. So what I used to say to them, if you've got a crash helmet and you want to paint it, I don't mind, but check with the manufacturers what paint and what materials and stickers you put on that particular crash helmet. Then they actually go home and tell their mums and dads this. So I actually studied. When I was at school, I was a bit of the Jack the Lad and didn't want to be told anything.
No.
So, yes, I was. And so basically I brought that into the road safety campaign. There's a man there rocking himself to sleep over there all the time. Every time you say something.
There's so much they could learn from you, isn't there, these young guys? And so much they couldn't.
Of course, yes,
Yeah.
there is.
Perfect.
No, but that's the way motorsport is, isn't it? You know, we are the best in the world. All the Formula One teams are here apart
that's
from
right.
Ferrari.
Yeah.
And where were they this year?
Doesn't matter.
No. Pass on.
They're not British.
Are they
Listen,
here? No.
I was going to say I could talk to you all day, but that would be impossible. I would have to listen to you all day.
Sorry.
We're going to save some of these stories for the book.
Yes.
We don't want you to give a full précis of the book, because it's coming out any day now, isn't it?
At the end of the month.
What's it called?
The Other Side of Winning. So remember that. It's at the bottom of the page. It's The Other Side of Winning.
Is that losing?
So basically it's not... Yes. No. Who is he? I didn't want to be able to write a book saying, I've done this, I've done that. Ugh, right? But what I've written a book is, because when I actually won this particular thing, I was invited by a television company to do X, Y, and Z. And then the people that were involved with me doing X, Y, and Z would actually write a chapter in the book. And so it's about the other side of winning. Yeah, Coronation Street's in it.
You weren't in Coronation Street, were you?
Emmerdale, Coronation Street, and EastEnders.
Which sort of spoils this.
No, not at all.
It does.
They're rubbish programs.
I know,
This is proper.
Yeah.
That's all false. That's fictitious. This is real.
You're brilliant. You are brilliant.
No, not at all.
We've got to stop.
We've got time up.
We've got to stop. I'm sorry.
Oh,
We've
thank
got to
Christ for
stop.
that.
And
they're bored. Look, they're all walking away.
I'd like to thank you, Barry.
I thank you very much.
With extra contributions from another British racing legend, Barry Williams. Thank you, Wizzo.
I wish you all a very happy new year, and I wish you all you wish yourselves, and I mean that.
Make
Thank you.
sure you read Barry Lee's book. Unbelievable. Thank you, Barry.
Thank you very much.